The universe is a vast, cold, and profoundly indifferent expanse. For billions of years, galaxies have spun and stars have collapsed in total silence, unobserved and uninterpreted. There is no script written in the stars, no destiny carved into the fabric of space-time. And yet, here you are. You wake up, you drink your coffee, you go to work, you fall in love, and you feel the weight of your choices. You feel that your life matters. This feeling is the greatest achievement of the human brain. It is also, perhaps, our most necessary delusion. Today, we are exploring the anatomy of meaning, not as a mystical force, but as a biological survival mechanism. We are going to look at why we are hardwired to lie to ourselves, and why, without that lie, our world would undergo a quiet, terminal collapse. Meaning as a beautiful lie. To call meaning a lie sounds cynical, but in the context of evolution, a lie is often a shield. We live in a world of white noise, a chaotic stream of sensory data that has no inherent value. A rock is just a collection of silicates. A sunset is just the refraction of light through a polluted atmosphere. However, a human being cannot live in a world of raw data. We create beautiful lies to bridge the gap between the cold facts of existence and our need for emotional stability. We tell ourselves that our suffering has a purpose, that our work contributes to a legacy, and that our relationships are meant to be. These narratives aren't based on objective physics. They are psychic architecture. We build these cathedrals of thought to shelter ourselves from the howling wind of cosmic indifference. Without these lies, the world isn't just empty, it's unnavigable. Meaning as pattern, the recognition machine. Why is our brain so insistent on finding meaning? Because, at its core, the human brain is not a truth-seeking device. It is a pattern recognition machine. Our ancestors survived because they could find patterns in the chaos of the savannah. The rustle in the grass wasn't just noise, it was a predator. The movement of the stars wasn't just light, it was a calendar for planting. We are the descendants of those who were too good at finding patterns. So good, in fact, that we began to find them where they didn't exist. This is called apophenia. We see faces in the clouds. We see signs from the universe in random coincidences. And we see a path in the random walk of our lives. We are hardwired to find order in chaos because order is safe. When we find a pattern, we feel a sense of relief. We call that relief purpose. The importance of meaning, the survival strategy. Meaning is not a luxury. It is a psychological necessity. In the 1940s, psychiatrist Viktor Frankl observed the horrors of the Holocaust and noticed a startling trend. Those who survived weren't necessarily the physically strongest, but those who possessed a will to meaning. In the face of total collapse, those who had a reason to live, a child to return to, a book to finish, a faith to uphold, were the ones whose bodies refused to give up. Meaning acts as a psychological immune system. It drives our motivation and fuels our resilience. It is the why that allows us to endure almost any how. Without it, the human animal doesn't just become sad, it becomes non-functional. Narrative identity, the stories that are us. We do not experience our lives as a series of disconnected moments. Instead, we possess what psychologists call narrative identity. We are the protagonists of our own internal movies. Your internal monologue is constantly editing your history, reframing your failures as lessons and your successes as destiny. We construct a coherent sense of self by stringing together the beads of our experience on the thread of a story. If you lost your narrative, if you couldn't explain how you got from point A to point B, your self would dissolve. We don't just tell stories, we are the stories we tell ourselves. Meaning cares only about utility, not truth. One of the most unsettling truths about human psychology is that our brains do not prioritize truth. They prioritize utility. Evolution does not care if you understand the quantum mechanics of the universe. It only cares that you survive long enough to pass on your genes. Therefore, the beliefs that provide the most meaning are often the ones that are the least true in a scientific sense. Believing that you are chosen or that everything happens for a reason might be objectively false, but if that belief keeps you from falling into a paralyzing depression, your brain will treat it as a fundamental fact. Meaning is a tool, like a hammer or a compass. We don't ask if a compass is true. We ask if it points us in a direction that keeps us alive. Lack of meaning equals mental problem. What happens when the story breaks? What happens when the quiet collapse isn't happening in the world, but in the mind? When an individual loses their sense of meaning, they fall into an existential vacuum. This is the deep, dark root of many modern mental health struggles. Depression is often characterized not just by sadness, but by the loss of the future tense, the inability to see a narrative path forward. Anxiety is the fear that the patterns we rely on are crumbling. When the beautiful lie fails, we are left staring directly into the sun of the void, and it blinds us. The existential dread so many feel today is the sound of the narrative machinery grinding to a halt. Meaning and dopamine, the neurobiology of purpose. There is a physical reason why finding meaning feels so good. It is rooted in our neurobiology, specifically the dopamine system. Dopamine is often misunderstood as the pleasure chemical, but it is actually the chemical of anticipation and pursuit. It is released when we are moving toward a goal or when we perceive a pattern that suggests a reward. When you work toward a significant goal, whether it's raising a child, building a career, or mastering a craft, your brain bathes itself in dopamine. It is rewarding you for finding a pattern and sticking to it. Your brain wants you to feel that your life is meaningful because that feeling keeps you moving, searching, and striving. We are biologically incentivized to be purposeful animals. Meaning and social validation, the shared hallucination. Does meaning require an audience? For most of us, the answer is yes. Human beings are hypersocial creatures. Our personal narratives are rarely constructed in isolation. They are reinforced by the social mirror. We seek validation for our meaning. When others acknowledge our work, our roles, or our sacrifices, it reinforces the reality of our internal story. This is why isolation is so destructive to the human psyche. Without others to witness our narrative, the lie becomes harder to maintain. We need the group to agree on the meaning of our symbols, our rituals, and our lives. Meaning is, in many ways, a shared hallucination, a collective agreement to pretend that certain things matter so that we can all function together. The universe has no meaning, but your brain cannot afford to know it. We arrive at the final, quiet paradox. The universe is a cold, entropic system. It has no goals, no morals, and no memory. It does not care if humanity thrives or if we vanish into the dark. But your brain cannot afford to know this. To truly internalize the insignificance of our species would be a biological catastrophe. It would lead to a total cessation of effort. Therefore, evolution has gifted us with a fundamental blindness. We are designed to live within the human scale, to care deeply about the next hour, the next day, the next generation. We are built to ignore the cosmic scale because, on that scale, nothing we do matters. The quiet collapse is avoided every day by the simple act of a human being deciding that their life has value. We ignore the void, and in doing so, we create a world, embracing the architecture. So, where does this leave us? Is it depressing to think that meaning is a neurological trick? Not necessarily. In fact, there is a certain dignity in it. If the universe didn't give us meaning, it means we are the architects of it. We are the ones who took a silent, chaotic reality and painted it with the colors of purpose and love. The lie is beautiful precisely because we created it. We are the only part of the universe that has decided that the universe means something. And as long as we keep telling the story, As long as we keep recognizing the patterns and seeking the dopamine of purpose, the collapse remains at bay. We live in the shelter of our own making, and that, perhaps, is the only truth that really matters. If you found a pattern in this video, if it added a layer to your own narrative, consider subscribing to Quiet Collapse. Let's explore the architecture of existence together. Until next time.